Once you've designed your SwiftData models and placed them into your SwiftUI app using that model container modifier, the next step is to build some custom user interface to display them somehow on the screen. Let's do that now. In our content view, add an import for SwiftData. And then we'll add a new property to the struct. We'll say @query var destinations is an array of destination. And this uses a new @query macro from SwiftData. It'll read out all destination objects currently being stored by our SwiftData database and display them in this array. Now, we haven't made any yet, so the array is empty. We'll fix that later on. This macro is really clever. It knows to load all destinations when this view is shown on the screen. But it also watches the database for changes. So as we insert or delete or edit destinations, it watches those changes, refreshes its array, and tells SwiftUI to update as well. So the two stay in sync the entire time. If you used core data previously, this thing is equivalent to the @fetchRequest property wrapper. Now, because all SwiftData models automatically conform to the identifiable protocol, we can start using them immediately in a list. We can say in our view here, there is a navigation stack with a list inside. Inside there is a for each over our destinations with one destination coming in. Let's make some bit of space here in my UI like that and that. There we go. Then inside here, we'll do a VStack with alignment of leading. Then the destination's name in a font of headline, like that. Then the destination's date. I'll format that so the date will be long and the time will be shortened like that. Then add a little title to our list. Down here, we'll say .nav title I tour. Now, if you're watching closely, you might think, wait a minute, this has got a for each and a list. We could just use list destinations directly. Yes, I'm planning ahead slightly here. We're going to add an on-delete modifier to this for each later on, which is why it's required to have a separate thing from the list. Now, like I said, this array of destinations will be empty right now. We're showing them, but there's nothing being created. Now, obviously in the future, we want to let users create and edit and delete their own destinations. But for now, we'll take a little bit of shortcut and a button to add some sample data so we can see something on the screen straight away. So below navigation title, I'm going to say add a toolbar with a button saying add samples. And I'll call the action of a new add samples method. We haven't written that yet, so error, that's okay. Then below the body, I'm going to say func add samples. I'm going to make 3 example destinations here for sample data so we can see something on the screen. We'll say let Rome be a new destination called Rome. Let Florence be a destination called Florence. And let Naples be a destination with the name of Naples. I missed name off each time there, sorry. Name of Florence, name of Rome. There you go. And that creates 3 destination objects, good to go. But when you press Command B in it, build your code and sees what you've been doing, it'll say, hold up, you're making these things, Rome, Florence, Naples, but you aren't using them. And it's correct. We aren't actually storing them anywhere. What we need to do is tell SwiftData, please store these for us. And through that requires learning an important SwiftData concept called the model context. This has the job of tracking all objects that are currently being used by the app. Now that's not every object. If you imagine loading everything our data stored all the time whenever our app launched, it'd be terrifically inefficient. Instead, it uses only things we need right now. It's a little cache, basically. When we earlier used the model container modifier here, that made our database, or loaded it if it was there already. But it also created a model context for us for objects to load into the cache automatically. and it placed that into the SwiftUI environment as a thing called the main model context. And that runs on the Swift main actor, which means it's safe to be done on any UI thread. What we want to do is read that back out from the environment and tell it to store our objects. So in our content view, we're going to say up here, there's a new property at environment / model context, var model context, like that. And now we insert those 3 pieces of sample data in our add samples method down here. We'll say model context dot insert Rome, model context insert Florence, and model context insert Naples. So now we're making destinations and telling SwiftData to add them to its storage. Let's press Command R, run the code again. There's our app currently empty. When I press add samples though, boom, in come our 3 examples, Naples, Florence, and Rome. Even better, if I leave the app, press Command dot to quit the app, then press Command R again to build and run, boom, they're all still there because SwiftData saved them automatically for us. This autosave behavior is enabled by default. As soon as our code finishes running, as soon as this button finishes running here, the run loop ends, SwiftData saves all our changes to permanent storage, so our data is always safe.